Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gooch from Xanrica Studios, and welcome to another episode of the Shitty Podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing BBC's comments on Doki Doki Literature Club. Now, I know I'm pretty late on this topic, but I really wanted to talk about this. For a lot of people that are gamers who have played video games for a long old time and kind of understand the go around, this is another classic case of the media blaming video games for real world problems. Now, the story behind this whole thing with the BBC and Doki Doki is that a 15-year-old boy in England killed himself after playing the game. And now the parents of the boy are trying to make the point that this game is too inappropriate for children. Now, he isn't exactly wrong. The game isn't really for children, but at the same time, there are plenty of warnings that say that the game is meant for a more mature audience. For example, there are warnings on the Steam page and in the game before you reach the main menu. Actually, 2 times before you reach the main menu. There's one where like the screen has all the characters on it, and it's like kind of an old-fashioned color. And it's like, this game is not suitable for children or anyone who is easily disturbed or anyone who's easily depressed or whatever, right? And then there's another one that says that it's not suitable for children. It's like right after the Team Salvato logo. And yeah. But the thing is that if these people are really that concerned about the inappropriate nature of video games, they should have done their research on the game before letting their son play it. It never really works out, and I'm pretty sure, more than likely, it isn't even the video game that did it. Because I don't know about most people who are depressed and have depression, whatever, but I don't think that a lot of people commit suicide because they see kids or characters in a video game commit suicide. It just makes no sense to me. And, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with bullies and other problems that may have caused this, It could have been mental illness, it could have been depression, it could have been all of that shit rolled up into one. Now, what may have kept this from happening is if they would have paid attention to their child and their problems. Ask questions, resolve issues, don't blame the video game for your inability to pay attention to your child. It's something that I cannot stress enough. If your kid commits suicide and he happened to be playing a game that has suicide in it, then can you put 2 and 2 together? It has nothing to do with video games. It has everything to do with the fact that there are people in the world that bully other people, and it fucks with people. Messes them up, man. And people often commit suicide because of bullying and because of domestic violence and shit like that, which I'm not saying that these people committed domestic violence and they're beating their children and that's maybe the reason why, but that's not what I'm saying. As for the BBC, this is not going to be a shock to anyone for people who've been paying attention to the news while also being a gamer, but pretty much every news network has done this at some point or another. Fox News actually did this 12 years ago when the first Mass Effect was released. And their reason for talking a bunch of shit about Mass Effect was because they were afraid that the sexual content would influence teens to have sex. Despite the fact that teens have been having sex long before the creation of any video game ever. This isn't, like a poorly stated piece of evidence. It's not like this isn't true. A lot of teenagers have been having sex long before video games were ever created. In fact, it's been going on since pretty much the beginning of mankind. and it's just weird. But the question of every gamer out there is, why did news networks blame these problems on video games? Now, the reason behind this is because nobody wants to admit that problems exist. That both psychologically and, just fucked up shit, these things happen. People who are schizophrenic or complete psychotics who go around and do some shit, but the thing is that they just so happen to be playing GTA at the same time. It's just ridiculous. They tie the two together. They don't think, well, he may have been because of his mental illness. It was because he played GTA 5 and he went around and he killed all the prostitutes and all that shit. It just never makes any sense to anyone except for them, who, in order to get away from the fact that, like, in the case of this, in the case of the kid committing suicide because of the Doki, it wasn't because of that. Now, I think that if they were to pay more attention to their child, maybe ask more questions, maybe kind of know the difference between him when he was happy and him when he was depressed. Now, I'm not saying, I am saying that they're not exactly, something tells me they didn't pay attention. Something tells me that they never really paid attention to their son. And it just bothers the shit out of me that they're trying to use Doki Literature Club as a scapegoat for this type of thing. It's just... it's horrible. And I know that I'm kind of losing my way here, and I'm sorry about that. But the kid may have had depression and other mental illnesses. It's not like it was specifically because characters in a video game were killing themselves and hurting themselves. That's just ridiculous to blame it on that. Because of this. Team Salvato, or I'm sorry if I'm getting the name wrong, they created a video game specifically meant for psychological terror. And it's something that, is pretty evident throughout most of the game. I haven't actually finished my Let's Play on that. I just know a little bit more because, like I said, I've been kind of recording and then posting it like weekly, but I've been recording some of it mostly. But it's a psychological horror game. It's something that messes with your mind, makes you believe that things are going to happen, but they don't happen. And all of a sudden a bunch of weird stuff happens. That's Doki Literature Club. But the thing is that Doki Literature Club didn't kill your son. Your poor parenting did. We're all sick and tired of shitty parenting affecting the good name of video games. We're all sick and tired of shitty parenting affecting the good name of pretty much everything. Do you remember Harambe? A person lost track of their child, or wasn't paying attention to their child, and the child fucking jumped into a monkey pit, or the gorilla pit. And then Harambe was just being a good person, or a good ape, and picked up the boy and was like, here, let me take care of him. And then all of a sudden he got shot. That gorilla died because of the fucking kid's parents, who weren't paying attention, who were being pretty fucking awful parents, and we're all completely honest with ourselves. It's not good at all. Now, the BBC network, back on topic, before I completely lose myself to the madness of memes, the BBC News Network doesn't know a damn thing about video games, let alone visual novels. And I have actually played the game. I've actually played the fucking game, and I can tell you that it isn't as fucking bad as they keep on putting it out. The depression and self-harm of the characters is a plot device. It's a way of telling the story and, kind of proving points, building up character development, and other things like that to get you to understand the characters better. And maybe even give some method to the madness. Like, Yuri cuts herself. Sayuri, she's just depressed. I don't even know really how to get into her situation. Natsuki, as far as I can tell from what I've heard, is abused by her father, and Monica's just a psychotic bitch. Just wants the player, not even really the character that we're playing as, but she wants us. Monica wants, like me. She wants you. Whoever's playing it, that's who she wants. She's not really she's not very bright, honestly. There's no fucking way we could be together. Holy shit. And besides, the BBC can't really talk shit, honestly. A lot of their programmings are way fucking worse than Doki Doki Literature Club. These networks are are the most hypocritical things in the world. They talk about how bad something is, but their cable network does the exact same thing. You want to talk about, sex. Fox has Family Guy and American Dad and all these other things. And you can say that the Fox News Network and Fox are two different things, but it's still Fox. It's still the same brand. They can't talk shit. And Family Guy is for 14 and up. 14 and up. And it has sex, violence, and all that fun shit. But I do love some of the shows on the BBC cable network, like Taboo and Peaky Blinders. I love these shows. But for the BBC to give a video game like the Doki Dokis that kind of criticism, not even notice that their network and thousands of others have the same, if not worse, content than DDLC. It's retarded, and I hope they get kicked in the dick for it. Honestly, it just pisses me off. I can't even fucking think straight sometimes because of how retarded it is. But, in the words of a wise man, art imitates life, not the other way around. To blame video games and other forms of entertainment for real-life issues is ridiculous. Mental health, bullying, and a shitty home life is more than likely the cause of these issues. If a kid shoots up a school, it isn't because he played GTA. If a kid commits polygamy, which is the act of having multiple girlfriends and or wives, it isn't because he played a visual novel about a harem. And if a kid kills himself or herself, it isn't because he played Doki Doki Literature Club. I swear, this has become its own cliche. Someone does something fucked up, and they just so happen to play a certain video game, and then the game gets tons of shit despite not being the reason for the fucked up shit committed. News networks just need to shut the fuck up about video games. Leave it alone. Because video games aren't the reason behind every little fuck up in the world. They just need to realize this, and everything will be fine. People don't need to bring up the fact that a guy played video games and he played this particular video game and that was what set him off and gave the ideas. No. If a guy goes around and says, "I'm Master Chief," and blasts somebody in the face, then you'll have more of an argument there. But to say that a 15-year-old boy committed suicide because characters in a video game commit self-harm and suicide is retarded. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. They just need to shut up. I hope that everyone in every major news network who talks about video games and knows nothing about the video game deserves to be kicked in the dick and or punched in the tit. Because this is fucking retarded. Anyway, that's all I really have to say about this. I know this was kind of a short episode of the Shitty Podcast, but I really hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, a comment down below, and subscribe for more content. Press that bell button for notifications on our upcoming videos. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.